oh, we are not that bad, because it was said that Tcl is immaterial language, but when we do some of code, activity, we are comparable for PHP. I will show you some other comparison maybe at the end. And what is important, because most of our students, they are not familiar with Tcl. So I thought that we should just advertise. This is called coding in C. But in fact, nowadays, even students are not familiar with C, so it's not a easy situation. These are just the project which was last year. Usually I saw this is the student, this is the mentor, and this is the subject of the project. It was discussed last year. This is another part from last year. And this year we've got such a project. The first one is by Gustav Neumann. It was mentored by Gustav Neumann. The student is the TDPC driver by Kevin Kenny. This was by Jeff Hobbs. This one by Cliff, as you can see. Another one is Steve Hartley. This was mentored by Jonas. I don't know how to pronounce exactly the name, but he is a leader of AFSM project. Radosław Szulgo, he is here, and Tom Poindexter wasn't able to attend because he's on vacation now. Graph manipulation and drag Capri is also available, and we've got this project which is mentored by Pat Toys. I think the Pat Toys is from Europe, yeah. So he's not attending, and I think that's it, because now I think that maybe it's a time to ask mentor to just present the project in 3 just sentences or what's going on, because I don't know, how do you feel about it? Should we just move forward, or let's discuss those projects just one by one?
Steve, it's your presentation?
Yeah, it's a presentation, but it's. I think the approach is just to make some summaries. Okay, so
I think what Gerald meant was call on people.
Yeah, it's up to you. You're the
leader. Just call on the people and ask them to say a few words.
I would like mentors to present all this project just maybe one by one. So it will take us 15 minutes or maybe. What do you think?
I think you should.
Let's start with this.
Yep, that's it. Point at someone and get them to start.
Okay.
I think I think it's different with
yeah, to go here. So I think that. Or maybe Gustav, just come on here. You will be recorded.
Step right up. You're the next contestant.
Code was right. Let's say a few words. Just maybe a little bit closer because
well, I mean, I think for a part of the community, it might not be clear what SCORM is. It's from the, let's say, e-learning world, a couple of standards, which are also a couple of 100 pages long, which are XML-based descriptions of learning materials. It means there are things like content packaging, there's some interaction between let's say, a browser with some JavaScript content and a server, and there's some ways of interacting there. And it consists of a set of standards which is changing every couple of years and extended it. I mean, the main point of this package was to have a, let's say, state-of-the-art environment where you can take one of these standard packages. I mean, the basic idea, my potential was there, is for, let's say, learning institutions, universities and others to produce content which is independent of the playing environment, of the e-learning environment. I mean, if somebody does environment for, let's say, something like Blackboard, you want to import it to a different platform which is, let's say, from a different vendor or open source content. And therefore, for this way, these standards are needed. These standards are quite boring to read, and they are developed in a, let's say, 3 major ways. Many of the standards were developed as a first solution for a problem, not really a good solution, but it doesn't make sense to complain about it. And the work that Michael Aram did was there is to provide an extensible framework for parsing this XML content based on TDOM. I guess most of you know this more or less, and getting this content there and place this content in a wiki-based environment, which is not normal for this SCORM environment because they are merely players and not editors. Wiki means that the teachers who have the rights or the students might modify these materials and be afterwards able again to put this out. And this content is going into OpenACS. OpenACS has many other things, a content repository with
I think it would be good if you say just a few words about OpenACS, because I don't know if everybody will, know what is this.
Yeah. Well, OpenACS, I'm sure I should start there. I mean, the OpenACS is a collaborative framework which was originally developed at MIT. Phil Greenspan was starting this project. I mean, Phil Greenspan is a MIT professor and also a photographer, and in the early days of, let's say, the Web 2.0, he developed a nice website called photo.net, which was one of the first, let's say, interactive websites where he had some way to, let's say, he invented blogs at the time, then developed blogs, and this whole environment was built in a scalable manner. Scalable means it was built around at this time the AOL server, which was at this time freshly released into the public by AOL. Maybe 2 words about AOL server. AOL server is a C-implemented, scalable web server. Scalable means in this way it has a lot of sharing, resource sharing in terms of it has a thread pool, it has a couple of database handles. I mean, typically an OpenACS application has, say, 50, 100 connection to database open, and every worker thread grabs from this environment some database handles and returns it afterwards. It has a vast range of caching capabilities, of caching on the database layer, on page fragments, or whatever. Otherwise, it's really a high-performance environment which is very well scalable, and we also use it at our university up to a certain degree, and we have often, let's say, 2,000 students at the same time working on the system. At the same time, let's say 10,000 logged in, and therefore it is certainly, I mean, we have there in the range of up to, let's say, 200 requests per second served by the server. Every page view there, just page views actually, is in the range of, let's say, between 5 and 15 SQL queries. Therefore, there's something going on.
Thank you, because this OpenACS community is governed in similar way the Ntico community, and Gustav is on the ACS core team. I think they call something like this. OCT, OpenACS core team. I think that's it. I would like you to summarize. Do you think that your project was successful, or how do you?
Yeah, I mean, just to sum up, I mean, on this environment, there's just an AOL service, a C player with a tickling scripting layer. I think there was several communities meetings, presentation of this. And OpenACS is altogether about 2 million lines of code.
SQL code.
SQL. And I mean, not all of them are, let's say, in the same state. This is arranged in packages, in OpenACS packages. There are around 200 packages there, which are, from this, I would say, a quarter is in a good state, and another thing is something like was contributed at some time and maybe different things. But anyhow, it's a huge environment, and one of the main contents is this content repository which I mentioned earlier. And what we did was to implement, let's say, this basic framework for importing this wiki-based content there. And I mean, it's always hard to say how to say it is whether it is something which is more or less completely finished or not. I mean, it solved a lot of, let's say, complex problems there, and in the range of, let's say, 10 to 15% of the code that we wrote is already in the public repository. It's there. He's continuing his work on these things. That means
because he's a PhD student.
Yeah, PhD student.
And he's supervisor.
But he's working in a slightly different area. But I know him from this area. Therefore, he was continuing this work, and I think it was really a worthwhile contribution. I mean, it was,
So I just wanted to mention that he also submitted a PDF that will be on the
okay, something 4 pages or so.
Okay, I think that thanks for your presentation. of the projects which is not directly around, not many of you probably interacted with. So Kenny, just a few words. Because I think that we have maybe 4 minutes for the presentation.
Well, that's why it shouldn't take very long, because I think most of the people in the room are at least familiar with what TDDC is. That in 8.6, that in 8.6 we're attempting to standardize a database connectivity layer for Tcl/Tk with Tcl/OO base class and a set of drivers that distribute with the core. Although not in the core, it's the new contributed modules area that we're trying to get into the core. So with TDBC, obviously the big need is to have more drivers so that we can talk to any SQL database. And Sławek Cygan signed up for doing TDBC drivers. Initially at the start of the summer, what he signed up to do was a pure Tcl TDBC driver as a proof of concept to wrap OraTcl, and then a native C driver for Postgres. And in fact, he tackled the job in the opposite sequence and wound up doing the native C driver for Postgres first, and did a really nice job in it. And in fact, the TDBC beta release that I announced yesterday has got his driver in it. So it's fully integrated with TDBC and shipping now. The Oracle driver, he didn't get quite as far along. I'd say it's about 80% complete, and he's still working on it. But it's certainly on track to get into the TDBC, probably in time to bundle it with 8.6.0 when that goes final. So he did a really nice job in getting us from being able to talk to three database APIs to 5.
The problem with Sławek was that he wasn't communicating his progress. He was, just getting once every 2 weeks or maybe once a month and showing, oh, I've already done the whole driver.
That's right. In fact, it was we were getting to the midterm evaluation, and I was, sending an email saying, "Have you actually done anything? I've got to write a midterm eval on you." And that night he did a massive commit, and the Postgres driver was not quite working. It was passing maybe 20% of the test suite, but the driver and test suite were essentially code complete at that point. But getting him to answer emails was quite a challenge.
I was quite, assured that Sławek will be, successful in this project, because before this Summer of Code, he worked in my company for maybe 1.5 years, so I know that he's capable of delivering with that. So thanks to you, I think. Another one, I will not bother Jeff to talk about this project, because this project is, in fact, it wasn't successful, very successful one, because this is, we had 3 students applying for this Reggae 12, and it seems that Daniel was the one which is the best candidate to do the job. But it turns out that during the summer there were 2 parts of the project. The first one was to bring this Reggae library to the Tcl coding standard, I think something like this. And another one was to handle some problems we have with this Reggae extension. And I think that Daniel only managed to to do the first part, but it was some contribution, so we decided that we should just pass him. But this project in fact wasn't successful, and I think that we will try to maybe somehow put some money into other people to complete the project. So that's it. Printing support, I think, is Cliff. Cliff will be the best person to introduce it.
Thank you. On behalf of the committee, okay. This is the second year on this particular project. As everybody knows, from back when Osterhout was at the conferences and Usenix was running them, #1 on the want list has been TIG printing support. And the reason it never happened is it's not a trivial problem. So last year, Chris took my code that worked enough to get me through some of the projects I needed and extended it so that we could take every widget that was on a TK GUI and dump it into a PDF document. So now you could do a full screen dump at shrinkable and loadable with vector graphics. The big breakthroughs this year was he now can load the font descriptors into the PDF document, which is it's a really good student quality piece of work because it's not extremely difficult, but it ain't trivial either. I put a week or so into it when I was playing with it and got something that worked mostly. So it took him a few weeks. The next goal that we had for this period was to be able to get stuff off of the text widget, which is an extremely non-trivial problem because the text widget does a whole bunch of formatting internally, but it doesn't reflect that out. The rest of the TK widgets are relatively easy to render again into PDF, or in our case what we do is we render it internally into a ditch structure so that then we can re-render it into PDF or whatever thing we need for a platform. We're doing the problem as first thing to do is to get images off of TK format and into something that we can print. And then we can worry about what we do from there. Then you get into the platform-specific issues. So does it have to go down a pipe? Does it have to go to a file? Does it have to be in an image, in a printer image format? But until you can get it off of the screen and into some sort of a neutral format, you can't go anyplace else. So I've been really happy working with Chris. Some of the people do weekly formats and things, weekly status. Chris and I have been pretty informal. He tells me when he's got something new. I look at his code. I'll tell him what I really like. I'll sometimes send him a several-page piece of email explaining why coding standards I think should be this way. Not that I'm opinionated. I'm just right. In my own humble opinion. But he's been very responsive. I didn't have time to work with him a lot last year when he was doing stuff, but as the year went on, I had time to start using his code. I've started rolling it into the applications I'm doing for the Navy and a couple of my own projects. So I ended up sending him bug reports in the middle of the school year. And he turned around and he fixed them.
Yeah, I think it's important that, for example, this Sławek work, like Sławek and Chris, I think that they will be available, to enhance their work during the following year at least, because they are students and maybe even further. So,
yeah.
They are not very active, but if you push them, they will deliver some results, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Steve.
I'll be happy to argue about printing philosophies with anybody offline.
Yes, because everybody has something different on mind when we talk about printing. For example, when we were talking about printing on the European conferences, there were at least 3 distinct projects, like making printing dialogues, like, just generating PDF, like, making some layouts engine or something like this. Another project, I think, if you can present it, it would be nice. Steve Huntley. This is the student which is with us for the second year also.
Well, this year I mentored again Alexandros Stergiakis, who is a Greek student studying at the University of Stockholm, if I remember correctly. He's a master's student. And last year he did sorry.
So we can see you.
Last year he did the TCL binding to the Fuse library, which is file systems and user space, which allows you to author virtual file systems in TCL and make it be visible to all applications on the Linux platform. This year he is ambitious and motivated, which is good. I think he has some secret master plan to create some sort of network mapping and management utility, and he's exploiting the Summer of Code project to advance that plan. And that's fine with us because we get a good, smart, motivated student to work on these projects. This year he proposed this idea in the application period of GIS as Global Information Systems, or Geospatial Information Systems, which makes the standard open source library for handling geospatial information data is called GDAL, which I don't recall what that stands for, but anybody worked with it before, familiar with it? You remember what GDAL stands for?
It's something along the lines of geospatial data application library.
Something like that,
something
yes.
like
It's
that.
a very large and comprehensive project which pulls together previous existing libraries. So it sort of rationalizes a larger, very many different formats for presenting both image and geospatial data. And it's become the standard in the open source world, and Alexandros wanted a TCL binding for this library. So he marshaled together a number of technologies to do that. He taught himself to use Swig in order to use Swig to generate the bindings. He managed to get the bindings taken care of by the first half of the project. The second half of the project, he created a GUI viewer so that you could actually view and display maps and varieties of geospatial information. He didn't actually get a working version to me by the end of the project, but a couple weeks after the end, he actually shipped to me an installer using InstallJammer, which acts on both Linux and Windows, which actually installed a working GUI viewer. So we have that. So that was a good way to end the project. I thought the viewer actually uses TK-Zinc because he liked the hierarchical object structure of TK-Zinc. It made use of TCL00 for object-oriented design using the TOE framework. I don't know if anyone remembers the announcement of TOE, TOE, which I don't remember what that stands for either. But it just came out last summer, so he taught himself to use that, as well as it uses TickleNap, which is the TCL extension for linear algebra and hierarchical data processing. And he actually patched TickleNap a bit to get it to work, so it was quite an ambitious project. He identified the problems and the technologies he needed. He taught himself to use them and executed the project. And I think it was a very successful project. He's recontributing his bindings back to the GDAL project, so they'll be available generally to anyone who installs and uses that library. So I think that's a big win for the TCL community as well.
Thanks. Another project is image handling. Jonas is not with us. And this project, in fact, it is another not that successful one. The problem we ran during the summer is that Łukasz was just forced to finish his master thesis during this time frame of the Google Summer of Code, and then he was enrolling to his PhD studies. So it turned out that he has to choose between our project and his career impact. So the priority was rather obvious. But as I had a direct contact with Łukasz, I decided to take responsibility and to move this project a little bit beyond the scope of the Google Summer of Code, because I think that he can finish at least some of the stuff he promised us. And in fact, it turned that Łukasz had a little bit of problems with getting with the I wouldn't say complexity, but with how we in fact handle images in the core. It seems that his C knowledge is not that advanced, but I managed to contact him with Quiz, this guy doing, TK printing. He's quite, because in fact they are friends. They work for a time being in the same company, and I think that they will deliver something within maybe the end of the half of the next month. I think that's something really usable will be available. Another one, I think, about this project, I don't know exactly what is the outcome, and Pat Toys is not with us, but I think that this HTTP one client stuff is ready, and it will be somehow included in the this upcoming release. Graph manipulation is a project mentored by Andrea Kupri. If you can just say a few words. We've got 2 minutes left. Few words.
Hi, I'm Andreas. I work at Exostate under Jeff. And the project with graph manipulations is in the context of Ticklib, which is a big bundle of lots of packages, lots of functionality. And one of the sections is data structures like stacks, queues, priority queues, and even graphs, namely not plotting graphs, but the graph kind of nodes, arcs, and edges. And we had graph operations as a project last year already with a different student, and he provided us basic stuff like Dijkstra, Euler paths, and things like that. And this year, a new student, Mikhail, did his work based on that, doing additional operations like maximum flow problems, traveling salesman problems, Euler was last year, and blocking flow, and things in that area. Mostly stuff which is handled by heuristics, which have no exact solution. And the code was quite good, and the project was essentially successful. And the last 2 weeks before the conference, I basically integrated this code into Tcl, and it should be now in the active Tcl distribution, which is available on our website. Yeah, that's it.
We are, the time is finished for our presentation, but I would like to ask you to give us another maybe a few minutes, because I bring Radek here, it will be repeated, not allowing him to speak, I think.
I would like to introduce you my project, what I have done, what I plan to do during the Google Summer of Code project. So let's go. That's what I've said. This is the agenda. So maybe not all of you know me. So my name is Radosław Furgo. Radek is for short. It will be easier to pronounce for you. I'm from Gdańsk, Poland. I was a Google Summer of Code participant when I worked on Jack modernization. My interests are Java, Java-like frameworks and applications, and that's why I've made Jack modernization. Open source project, that's why I'm involved in People Association, and Jaku, and traveling, so that's why I'm here. Okay, so I don't know how many of you know Jaku as a project. Just a few? Oh, maybe many of you. So I'll say quick. So Jaku is Tcl implementation in Java. It's almost Tcl 8.4 performance level. I say almost because I didn't finish everything to get Jaku to Tcl 8.4. It's still remaining file events comments such as input and output channel. So Jaku is made my friend by Mo DeYoung, and he wanted me to say good words about Jaku that you won't forget about it. Jaku is a part of Tcl Java project that contains two Tcl and TJC. Tcl allows you to use Java objects from your Java code in Tcl scripts. And TJC is Tcl to Java converter and compiler. So the input is a Tcl script, Tcl procs procedures you make, and it's converted to Java source code, and then Java source code is compiled to the Java bytecode. So you can use procs of it. And another interesting application, it's not included in Tcl Java, is Ajax by Tom Poindexter, that he was my mentor. He wasn't able to get here, but he strongly regrets that he can't be here, and he wanted to present his Ajax. It's a framework in Java to develop Ajax applications. So if you have spare time, test it, it's worth.
I think it's about using this Jaku, like
Yeah.
TK.
Ajax use Jaku. That's why they connected. Okay, so my goals of project. So my goal is to get into the Jaku and open source development and get Jaku to the Tcl 8.4. Make Jack more popular again, since I heard that it was used by IBM WebSphere server, but when they saw that Jackal is abandoned, they migrated to Jython. So, as you see, Jackal is important, and was important, actually. What was done by me? Okay. I did new regex API, so that Jackal uses Java 1.4 regex API. It's much more faster and easier to get to know in the source code. Regex API than it was before. And it was tested with 0.4 tests. Mo has integrated it into the trunk repository, and it almost passes all of the tests from tested. I think 3 or 4 are still failing. Okay, another point was a trace. The trace CMD was rebuilt, and the whole trace CMD was rebuilt. I've implemented trace variable, and trace command is still developed. You know, trace is hairy and big stuff, so it's not so easy to do it. And my project was tough because I had to know Tcl project and Jack project that are huge ones. Okay, next one, those one before was the major stuff, and these are the simpler. So I made new clock formats, file command switches, blob switches, info, lsat, lsert, and many others. So I have plenty of work during my summer.